Hey guys, welcome to the first video in my YouTube channel, and today we're gonna create this layout from scratch using constraint layout. Constraint layout is a very powerful layout in Android that you can use to create a flat hierarchy layout, and pretty much you can create anything you want using constraint layout. So it is very powerful, and we're going to take it step by step. The first thing, we're going to create a new project. It was mentioning that I use Android Studio 4.1. Choose an empty activity and give it a name. I'm going to call it constraint layout tutorial, and here's the package name, and click finish. This will create an empty project for us, and of course we're going to replicate this design. We're going to create it again, and I will show you every step of the process of creating this design using constraint layout. So we have a bunch of image view here, and a circular image view, buttons, and a couple of text views alongside with another circular image views. Now it's creating the project, and let's just see what we have already in the activity main.xml. So basically we have a hello world text. Let's get rid of it by hitting the delete after selecting the text view. So now let's start implementing the design. Let's take a look at the final result. We have a bunch of images. So let's first import those images into our Android Studio or our Android app. I will provide you with a link in the description to download these resources. Now I'm gonna copy them, get back to Android Studio, go to the drawable folder, paste this image inside the drawable folder, hit OK, and refactor, and we have just a total of 3 images that we will use in our design. Let's get back to the XML and close the other tabs. The first thing we can implement is to implement this big image view. So at first it's just an image view. So let's just take an image view and drop it and pick a resource to be Jon Snow. Now we have this image view element, but it is not constrained. As you can see here from this error message, this view is not constrained. It only has a design time position. So let's constrain it to the left, the parent, to the top of the parent, and to the right of the parent. Now the view is constrained probably, but we have a lot of white space right here because the image does not scale correctly to fill the whole image view. But we can easily fix this by going to the split design and specifying the scale type to be a center crop. Now we have the image has filled the full area of the image view. Let's run the application and compare the result to what we want. So this is the result, but not exactly what we want if we compare it to the final result we want to achieve. First, let's get rid of this action bar, and we can easily do that by going to the main activity. You can do this in Java or in Kotlin. We will write support action bar dot hide, and this should make the action bar gone. Now it looks a little bit better, but not exactly what we want. If we take a look at this image and compare it to this image, you would see that this image have a ratio of 1:1. So it's a square image. It's a square image. The width of the image is equal to height of the image. But this is not exactly what we want. We want it to be just like this. Okay. So we want to adjust the ratio of the width and height of the image view. We can easily do that in the constraint layout. Let's go to the design tab, and we have this image view. To be able to do that, to be able to give a certain width to height ratio to a view in constraint layout, you must at least have a width or a height, at least one of them, to be a 0 dp or match constraint. So let's make them both match constraint. So now you can see that image has disappeared. Okay, so to implement the ratio, you will click this little triangle right here, you give it a click, and as you can see, it immediately gives us a ratio of 1 to 1. But we don't really want 1 to 1. We wanna give it to be, we're gonna make it 16 to 9 and hit enter. Now let's just run the application again and let's see the final result. So now it looks exactly like what we want. The image view now have a width to height ratio of 16 to 9. Now the second thing we're gonna implement is this circular image view, and we're gonna use a third library for that here from GitHub, circular image view. It's an Android library that will help us get this rounded shape image view. So let's add the image or the circular image view library dependency and put it in the build.gradle file and synchronize the project sync the Gradle. After that, let's get back to activity main.xml. Unfortunately, since the circular image view is not a standard view in Android, you can just grab it and drop it with the mouse because it is not available right here. What we can do is go to the split design and get back to the repo and copy the code, the element code, and paste it inside the XML. So now we bring it the circular image view to the layout. We can now move it around using the mouse. So it is not available to drag because it's not a standard view, but after we put it inside our XML code, now we can move around and constrain it as we want. The first thing we're gonna change is the SRC to be Jon Snow, and the second thing we're gonna change is this border. This is a border color. It's a yellow color. I think it's a yellow or something of a kind. Let's just go to the values and colors.xml and just put the color right here. I'm gonna say it's orange. Yes, orange color, and it is FFCC00. As you can see here from the preview, it's an orange color. So here we can, in the border color attribute, we can refer to the color we have to be the orange color. Okay, now we have an error, of course, because this view is not constrained and it will jump to the top left corner. Let's run the application and to see that. Let's wait for the run to the build to complete. It's rounded, as you can see here. So this is exactly the element we want, but it is not the proper position. As you can see here, it's overlapped with this image. A half of it is with this image, and the below the bottom half is not above the image. Okay, we can easily do that in constraint layout. First, let's go to the design tab again, and this is the element. Okay, to do this, we're gonna grab this, the bottom constraint, and constrain it to the bottom of the image view. Let's grab it again. Now we have it, but it is not overlapping. As you can see from here, it is not overlapping. So if you want to get this overlap, we will take the top constraint of the circular image view and constrain it to the bottom of the image. So now we have this overlapping effect. Let me just zoom in so you can see. So now it is in a proper horizontal vertical position, but we want to adjust the horizontal position. As you can see, it is on the left of the screen, not exactly in the center, and that is very easy to do. Just grab the left constraint and constrain it to the parent, and from here we can give it some padding, 16 dB, or some margin, 16 dB. Now we have this image view in the proper position. Let's run the application and see if it works great or not, and if it's exactly what we want. So it looks good, looks exactly what we want. I think we need to adjust the border width. So as you can see, this is a thin and this is thick. Okay, let's go to the split design from here, and we can make this here, this border, we can make it about 3 dp. Of course you can change it as you want, but 10 is a big value. Let's make it 3 right here and run the application again and see if it works or not. And it looks good, it looks good. Now we implemented this image view, the circular image view. So the next thing we're going to implement is to implement this circular button that we have up here, and it says following. It's just an overlapping view, just like this image. So it should not be that hard to implement. From here, we're going to grab a button and drop it anywhere. To make it overlapping with this image, we're going to take the bottom constraint and constrain it to the bottom of the image, and the top constraint of the button and constrain it to the bottom of the image view. So let's just adjust it a little bit in terms of color and text. So this is our button right here. Let me give myself some space, and here we're gonna call it following. Okay, following, and we have this button. Let's change it. Let's change the background tint to be an orange color, and the text color, let's change the text color to be at Android color / black. So we want the text, the image, the button text should be black. Now to make it have a rounded corners, as you can see right here, we have a rounded corner. We can easily do that by going here and typing ab corner radius 20 dp. If we run the application, it should jump to the left because it is not constrained horizontally, as you can see, but we want it to be on the right side, and that is easy to do. We are going to the design tab right here and just constrain it to the image or the parent right here and give it a 16 dp of margin. If you now run the application again and see the result, now we have the image, the button, and the position we want. The next thing we're going to implement is this circular floating action button, and that is not very hard to implement. Let's go to the buttons section and grab the floating action button from here, drop it, select the resource. Let's just search for a reminder and click OK. So we have this floating action button. Let's make it overlapping just like this with the image view. So we grab the bottom constraint and constraint to the bottom of the image, and then the top constraint and constrain it to the bottom of the image. So now we have this circular floating action button. we're gonna constrain it also to be constrained right to the button. So let's just adjust it a little bit. Let's go to the split and select the floating action button from here and change the background tint to be an orange color. Also, just give it some space because as you can see here, they are not close to each other. So let's go to the design from here, click on it and give it 16 dp of margin. Let's run the application and see the result. It should be very similar to the design we want to achieve. So it looks good right now. Everything looks great. We can improve a little bit on the constraining things we have, because if we take a look at the circular image view, we can see it have a 16 dp of margin at the left, and this circular rounded button have a 16 dp on the right. So we are applying the margin, and if we have more elements we need to apply the same 16 dp margin every time to each view. So it's not that it's boring and it's not that practical, but in constraint layout we have what is called a guideline. We can take advantage of this guideline to avoid applying the margin over and over again, 16 dp every time. A guideline is just a helper line that can be vertical or horizontal that you can use in your constraint layout, and you can constrain views to this guideline instead to constrain it to another view or the parent. It is just like the guides that you can see in if you are familiar with Photoshop or Adobe Illustrator, these lines that will help you to structure things together and put them together. So we have the same concept here in constraint layout as guides. To add a guide, just right click and go to helpers and choose add a vertical guide. As you can see here in the blueprint, it is more clear. You can see it. It's just a guide and you can move. And we have here the space from the beginning because it starts from the parent, which is just the constraint layout in this case, and we can move it around here to adjust the space between it. Now it's 44. Let's just make it about 16 dp. Now we have this guide, this invisible line. So instead of constraining this circular image view to the parent and then giving it 16 dp, we can constrain it to the guideline directly. A guideline, as you can see, it's just a view. You can see it in the component tree as well, and in the XML file it's also available. So now instead of this circular image view constrained to the parent and have a 16 dp to push it to the right a little bit, we can simply constrain it to the guideline directly. So select this, click on the left constraint, delete it and connect it to the guideline. So we don't have to apply a margin anymore. We can take a look at the XML code to see if everything is good. Select the circular image view to start off the guideline 2. Okay, this is the ID of the guideline as you can see here. So now it's constrained to the guideline, and the guideline have a 16 dp of space between it and the parent, so we don't have to create any margin. And the great thing about this, it will scale good. So if we move things around, things will change. The view that is constrained the guideline will move too. So it is very easy to use, and It will help us to implement a proper design. We're gonna make the same for, we're gonna do the same for this button because it has 16 dp from here too. So now we're gonna add a helper again and call it a vertical guideline called guideline 3. We're gonna select it and move it right here. It's more clear in the blueprint. Let's move it. But now you can see it have a very huge hard-coded value 363. It is not a good way to do it. We need to change the direction. So this line, as you can see here, this line will tell you the direction of the spacing of the guideline. Here we have a 16 dp to the left. And now we're gonna change this. We're gonna change the other guideline direction from here. You can change it by going to the split and see we have the guideline 3. So instead of constraint guide begin, we're gonna make it to start from the end. Okay, we're gonna start from the end. As you can see, the arrow direction has been reversed, and we're gonna go to the design and adjust it and make it 16. So it's now great. Go to and click this following button, click the constraint, delete it and adjust it, and now constrain the button to the guideline instead of the parent. So now we have two guidelines, 16 dp at the right and 16 dp at the left. So now we can directly constrain the views to the guideline instead of the parent and giving a margin value every time. So this is the use of guidelines in constraint layout. So now after implementing these guidelines, the design will look the same. There will be no difference, but of course we have much greater flexibility by using the guidelines. Now let's just add these two text views for now. Just a text view, go to the command section and drop it, and we need to constrain it to be attached to this circular image view. So grab the left constraint and constrain to the left of the image, and grab the right constraint and to the right of the image, and the top to the bottom of the image. We can give it 16 dp of margin, and we're gonna change the text. We're gonna change it to Jon Snow. Now it looks like a good it looks good, but we need to make it a little bit bolder, as you can see right here. So we're gonna take advantage of the text appearance attribute here. Just scroll down and we have the text appearance, and we're gonna make it display 2, for example. No, display 2 is huge. Display 1, or maybe large. Okay, large is great. And now we have just a simple problem right here. I can remove this constraint and delete it and just constrain it to the guideline directly. It should be great right now. Okay, so now we have this text view. Let's add another text view. This add Jon Snow, the handler or the handle. Take a text view, constrain it to the guideline, constrain it to the right of the text view and to the bottom of the text view again. For now, we're gonna delete this constraint. Sometimes the text view will directly get constrained to the parent. Delete it. I don't want it to be constrained to the parent, instead to the guideline that we have right here. So now we have this text view again. We're gonna change its value to be Jon Snow right here, and it looks great. Don't think we need to change it or something of a kind. Let's just run the application and see if the design looks the way we want it to. So we have here Jon Snow and we have the handle. So it looks great and everything is good. But we can adjust the margin a little bit for the text view, the name text view from here, and make it 8 dp so it will look a little bit better. Let's run the application again and let's see what will we get. So it's great. Now we finished this top part. We need to have a text view and a text view and two circular image views. Now the next thing we want to implement is this description text, and it's just a text view, nothing more, and it is very easy to do. Let's get back to Android Studio, and here we are in the design tab. Grab a text view, drag and drop it, constrain it to the guideline and to other guideline in the other side of the screen, and make sure that the width is 0 dp or match constraint. This is very important when working with text views. And now let's just constrain the top to the bottom of this text view, and to give it some space we're gonna give it a 16 dp of margin. Now it looks good. It's time to paste some text. I will provide some text of the description as a placeholder so you can see how this text view will look like, and you don't have to type it by yourself. Okay, I'm going to select this. I'm going to go to the text and paste my text right here. Now this is the text. As you can see, it doesn't overflow out of the screen and so on, and it looks great. Let's run the application and see the result. Here, this is my emulator. Let's wait for it to run, and it should look something like this. Now as you can see, it looks very good and very similar to what we want. So this is the description text view. What to take from here is to make sure to make the width of the text view to be 0 dp or match constraint. Don't make it wrap content, as it will overflow and it will not look great at all. Make it 0 dp or match constraint when working with text views. And before moving into this part, the part of the browsers, we need to make some adjustment to the text. As you can see, the text is not justified, so it has this kind of drag and it looks ugly. To justify it, go to the split design, select the text view, and we have an option in the text view called justification mode, and choose enter word. This should make the text justified, as you can see right here, and it should look great, and there should not be any drag or something after the run. As you can see now, it looks very neat. Now let's make this browser's text view, and it is very easy. Just grab a text view, drag and drop it inside the layout, constrain the left to the guideline, and top should be to the bottom of this text views. Go up here, give it a 16 dp of margin. Now let's change the text appearance so it stands out a little bit. From here, text appearance, choose large, and it looks good right now. Change the text itself to be brothers, and let's zoom out to see the result. It looks good. Let's run the application to see the result, and it should look very similar to this. After that we will make this part. As you can see now it looks good, and let's move to make this part of the screen. Now let's create these two elements. Each element consists of a circular image view and a text view attached to this circular image view. So let's go to here, and of course we cannot drag and drop a circular image view, so we need to copy what we already have, and then we can paste it again. As you can see now, this is a pasted image. We need to remove the constraint from it and then move it around and position it correctly. Let's grab it. Now let's put it right here, constrain it to this guideline, and it should always be underneath this text view. Give it a 16 dp of margin, and now we have this image. Let's change the src to be like here, to be Robb Stark. So the src should be Robb Stark, not this, but this should be Robb Stark, as you can see right here. And now we can copy and paste it again to make the second image. And let's remove the constraint so we can move it around. Now let's constrain this to the other guideline, and it should always be underneath this text view also. Give it a 16 dp of margin, and let's go to the split design, click on it so we can see it here, and change it from Robb Stark to be Bran Stark. Now those two elements, as you can see, are away from each other. In order to create this kind of weighted spreaded way of space, because the space is equal between those two elements. If there is three elements, they will have also equal white space between them, and so on. In constraint layout, to achieve this we have to use what is called chains, and it is very easy to use. You can use it. Select the first element. It doesn't have to be an image, of course. It could be a button, it could be anything else. Select the second element. As you can see right here, those are selected. Right click on them and choose chains, and we want to create a horizontal chain. Once we create them, they will be constrained together and chained together. And chains have a couple of types you can change, of course. In chains, you can see we have a couple of styles: spread, and this is the default. We have backed will be backed together, so the space will be outer of the elements. Now let's leave it as it is, and the default is spread. After that, we just need to add two text views, Robb Stark and Bran Stark. Grab a text view from here, drag it and drop it, and attach the left of this to the left of the image, left text to the left of the image, and the right constraint to the right of the image, and top to the bottom of the image. Give it an 8 dp, should be fine. And this is Robb Stark, so let's change the text Robb Stark. So we are good. Let's also make the Bran Stark text view. Drag it and drop it. Right of the text view to the right of the image, left of the text view to the left of the image, and the top to the bottom of the image. ADP as a margin, click and select the text view and change the text property into Bran is Stark. Now let's run the application on the emulator and see the final result. It should look exactly the same as we want. As you can see now, it looks very neat and it looks great. And now the tutorial has ended. If you like what you see, hit like button and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more videos like this, and I will touch multiple topics on Android development. Also, you can follow me on Instagram and connect with me directly on LinkedIn. You can find the links in the description. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me on the comment section. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.